It's a Friday, and what better way to celebrate than with a mailbag episode on the Locked On Rays podcast?
We love mailbag episodes. You love mailbag episodes. We're going to hit 3 different topics. And of course, it's a fun Friday episode, Kevin. So we got baseball trivia and Name That War. So let's get started right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we are the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as the other podcasting platforms available. You can also find us on the social medias, X and Instagram, and email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. Speaking of that, without further ado, let's dive in to these mailbag questions. We have a trio of them before we get to baseball trivia and Name That War. This first one from Jonathan Johns. He says, I love the new stadium and the concept. I love the show, and I am a regular listener. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. I live in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Great golf destination, if I may say so myself. And we come into at least 2 series a year. Any news in the Bally situation? Regional sports networks generate a ton of money for their respective teams. Will this be a steady revenue for the Rays like Masson is for the Orioles?
Well, first of all, Jonathan, thank you so much for writing to us. Thank you for being a regular listener. We appreciate that. I'm going to answer this question with another question, Kevin, to you.
Okay.
Were you able to find out, either by estimate, what is the money that is being paid currently
to the Rays? The only thing that I was able to find out, and this was a very rudimentary, basic search, Google plugging in Rays TV contract and see what popped up. And I saw an article or a couple articles from like 2018, which seemed to indicate that the Rays were getting like $82 million annually.
82?
Yeah, from Sun Sports at the time. So I don't know. I would have to look into that. What I can tell you is that I believe Masson worked out an agreement to pay the Orioles and Nationals $100 million annually for each team. So the O's get 100 from Masson. The Nationals get 100 from Masson each year.
Okay, because I did something else. I looked up a 2023 article from Sports Illustrated, and it said, and I quote, it's believed that the Guardians' annual fee from Bally Sports is $55 million, and the Twins is $42 million. So again, I pose this question to you, Locked On Rays listeners. If the Guardians' annual fee is $55 million and the Twins is $42 million, I'm assuming the Rays are in that ballpark. But as I say that, then I know I heard some Rays fans telling me, but we're top 12 in the TV market, you know, and there's a lot of people that watch it, and that's true. So maybe above 55?
Yeah, I've seen a whole bunch of different numbers here, and I guess it depends on the year. Like I'm seeing I saw on Royals Review of all places that the Rays have or would have reportedly inked a 15-year television deal with Fox Sports Regional Network Sun Sports that would pay them $82 million a year, with revenue starting at $50 million for the first year and increasing over the life of the deal. And then I see some other sites that seem to indicate between $35 to $50 million. So I have no idea. I would think it's probably in the closer arena of the Twins and the Guardians. But I will say that the Rays television ratings are, while their attendance may not be so much, they do get a lot of viewership in comparison to other baseball markets out there. A lot of people are tuning into the games one way or the other.
They do, and it's not only because it's a good market for TV, but also when you have a good product, people will consume it. And Dwayne, BA, Trisha, now Matt, Denard, Doug, they're a good team. They're good. And Rich, of course, I forgot Rich, but yeah, if they provide good quality content, and so people do tune in. So you can see how that could be a little bit of a larger amount. But to Jonathan's point, will this be a steady revenue for the Rays? I mean, sure, it can be steady, but as we have pointed out in the first 5 minutes of the show, it's really not for any fan to know the exact.
Yeah, it's not public knowledge, and it's not like they're putting out a huge press release of the Rays are set to earn this much amount of money from this TV deal. I think they like to keep it hush hush. And there's another gnat in the ointment, if you will, because Bally Sports is going through their own issues, i.e. bankruptcy, their parent company, I should say, Diamond Sports Group. And there are reports that Comcast and DirecTV may drop the network. And we all know about cord cutting and people getting rid of their cable entirely. And you're seeing other sports teams, such as the Yankees, for example, looking into direct-to-consumer streaming services. And we've seen a little bit of that with Bally Sports. In fact, I signed up. I don't have cable anymore, so I sign up for the $20 a month for Bally Sports, and then I'll probably put my my membership subscription on hold until the baseball season returns. But I think it's only a matter of time before MLB might take this over and launch a nationwide streaming product through MLB TV or through some other platform or infrastructure. They've got it going on with the MLB TV. I mean, they were pioneers with launching that, and there's other professional sports teams that basically, buy the rights to utilize that technology. So you just have to make it a la carte and give people, find a way, depending on how all this mess shakes out, whether you live in Tampa, St. Petersburg, anywhere in the Tampa Bay area, that, okay, if you have to pay more of a surcharge and more of a premium to watch the in-game market, if you have to pay $40, $50 a month to watch Rays baseball, okay, whatever the figure is, I think that might be the way of the future, where people can just, I want to sign up for MLB TV. I just want to watch one team, or I want to watch 3 teams, 5 teams, but I want to be able to watch my team. I don't want any blackouts whatsoever.
And we're heading there. And this is not just like conjecture. We've actually heard, or at least read, Rob Manfred quotes specifically talking about them targeting that as the next big thing. And honestly, Kev, I know Rob Manfred is not could be public enemy number one for baseball fans, just like I think for every sport.
Everybody's got to have a punching bag. Everybody's got to have that Darth Vader figure,
Yeah, exactly. So in this case, it's Rob, but I really believe that if Rob comes through and he does eliminate blackouts, he does actually get this to happen. It's not only the Hall of Fame for him, but it's also the most adored commissioner in baseball.
100%. Yeah. I know that he gets a lot of crap, but he is a change agent and a visionary when it comes to following through on what he's looking to do to grow the game for generations, with the rules changes and having games being finished sooner, and what he has to fight and contend with, a sport that is very slow to change and is very focused on tradition, to have to instigate and work through those battles. Not an easy thing to do. And he's shown, he'll take a hit here and there, but I think overall, he's got some really good and shrewd ideas, and he seems to have the follow through on them. So I would imagine that at some point, something like that, some technology mechanism where it's going to be easier and easier for somebody like myself, somebody like yourself, no matter where you live, to say, okay, I'll I'll pay the fee through Apple Pay or whatever, and let me hop on and watch the game and go from there, instead of having to to go through a whole rigmarole to find what I'm looking for. So good question there from Jonathan. Keep them coming. We appreciate all our listeners, especially those that are out of state and out of the area as well. We have more to discuss, but first we have to tell you that the MLB playoffs are around the corner, which means the clock is ticking on your chance to 100 times your cash on daily fantasy baseball. Baseball has never been more exciting than it is now, with studs like Acuna, Betts, Ohtani, Yandy Diaz we could add into the list as well. And with all these great things going on, you can pick more or less on stats for these stars like home runs, hits, strikeouts, and more for up to a 100 times payout on Sleeper. You get your picks right, and you could win BIG big. So here's what you need to do. Use promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Remember that to see Sleeper's terms of use for details. Again, use that promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON on Sleeper to get that $100 match on your first deposit. Okay, getting to this next mailbag question from Rhodes Conover. Good to hear from him as well. He says, I was glancing at the AAA Durham roster recently and saw Austin Shenton's statistics. That guy is putting up a 1,000 plus OPS in AAA this season and a minor league career OPS of above 900. I don't think I've heard this name before, and he's only ranked 27th in our farm system, which feels low for these kinds of numbers. My question is, why the lack of hype around this guy? And more broadly, what are some of the less number-based factors that impact prospect hype in general?
Great question. Great question. Okay, so for those that don't know, because a lot of people won't know, Shenton was a 5th rounder. He's a 191 pick overall. So starting off with that, it's not like the 5th round is like the 30th round, but it's, you lose cachet by a round.
Yeah. Again,
not that it's the last round, it's the 5th round. It's still really, really high up, but that can give you a little bit of, a little bit of more of the hues in this picture. I also think the fact that he wasn't part of a big trade was another, a big trade, Chris Archer, and then you're like, oh, Glass now, right. Meadows, Boz. You really hone in on these guys. If you don't remember, Austin Shenton comes with JT Chagua from Diego Castillo. At the time, it did seem like, whoa, Diego's having such a good season, really. But right away, and you can actually go roll back the tape. When we looked at JT Chagua, we're like, okay, it looks like a great value brand of Diego Castillo. Like, he can do some similar things. So it wasn't like you were like losing like a ton. Like, you could see the potential there. So then that's 2 things that you can add of why there hasn't been a lot of like hype around Austin Shenton. But if you look at his numbers, they're ridiculous. The guy has really put up amazing numbers.
No, yeah, I think that's a really good question from Robin. And just to Robin, oh my gosh, I'm looking at the next email there. Rhodes, too many mailbaggers with R in their first name. So Austin Shenton, I guess maybe a couple factors working against him is last season was a dud because he was dealing with injuries, and he was more or less league average back in 2021 in AA. And he's hit it out of the park this year in AAA, no pun intended. But he also is, it is a factor. He's about 25 and a half. So he's technically considered old for a player that was making his AAA debut and getting his first action at AAA. The other thing, too, is there's a lot of other guys in this system that have brought about name recognition and cachet and talking points, from Junior Caminero to Carson Williams to Curtis Meade to Xavier Isaac to Oslevis Basabe, Kyle Manzardo before he was traded. I mean, there's a whole host of infielders in particular, middle infielders, corner infielders that are getting more love and attention, and maybe rightly so. And the other thing too is I read, I've not watched much, if any, film on Austin Shenton, but one of the scouting reports that I dug into suggested that his hit tool could be just about average or average at the most if and when he cracks it at the majors, because he's really struggled and swung and missed a lot on off-speed stuff at AAA. If that's happening at AAA, that's going to be exposed even more so at the big league level. And there's a huge discrepancy. The discrepancy has not been larger between the talent and abilities of AAA in the majors. So I think those are just a couple of things. I mean, if I had to guess, if I had to ballpark it, if and when he gets to the majors, he's probably going to play like a Mike Brasso role. He's not going to be, I think, a major impact player. He'll be like a one more per year corner infielder, which is fine. But he's not like super tooled up. Like the numbers are really good, but it's really just he's got really good power, and that's about what's carrying him. And it tells me a little something that, he's doing as well as he is right now. And at his age, which means he should have some maturity and experience on his side, you still are continuously calling up Vidal Brujan over him. You call up a 20-year-old Junior Caminero over him. You give Tristan Gray an opportunity over him. So maybe
to that point, he has played more first base than third base. So maybe they've already found out, hey, the glove might not work at second base anymore. And the power, you're right. 14 bombs in 61 games, but you're also right with the whiff. It's at 27%. So we've talked about this. I don't remember if it was with Tristan Gray, like early in the offseason, or early in the season, somebody was telling us to look at a player. And we're just saying, like, you have to really exploit AAA pitching if you're not really going to give a lot of glove. You really have to just be doing whatever you want with the baseball. And he is doing that, but that's why there's a little bit less hype. And I did look into a little bit of because I saw his pull percentage. It was at 44% pull side, 32% center, and then oppo 23%. And then I was like, who do I know that pulls the ball a lot and also plays first base and also plays third base and is with the Rays currently and has a lot of pop? You all know it. Isak can see him Paredes. In 2021, in AAA with the Tigers, not that far away now from 2023, instead of 44.1% like Shenton, Isak had 44.8%. Shenton had 32.4% to the middle, 28.6% for Paredes, oppo 23.4% for Shenton, 26.7%. So very similar. So could he develop just like Isak could? Yes, 100%. That's a possibility. But those developments take time, and one of your second point really is the big one, which is depth. The Rays have a lot of depth in the minor leagues. So when you have a lot of depth, a lot of people get, not a lot of playing time and not a lot of opportunity to show up.
Right, for sure. And to the other point of, why he's maybe not getting as much love as others. Yeah, that's it. Is, he wasn't a guy drafted in the first or second round out of high school. He was a 3-year player, 4-year player, whatever it was, out of FIU, 5th round draft pick. So the more money you get in that signing bonus, and the higher you're drafted, usually your name kind of emanates throughout the prospect list and the prospect rankings. And I'm just curious to see. And I know we've only looked at a couple sources, but I would like to see and compare where Austin Shenton ranks on Baseball America compared to Baseball Prospectus, compared to where Aram would put him on just baseball.com. I think it's just one of those cases where he could be that quasi 4A player where he just mashes AAA pitching, but it might not fully quite translate to the major league level. Maybe like again, Mike Brasso, who's doing fine right now, or a Taylor Mott or something like that.
Yeah.
There's guys out there that put up amazing numbers in AAA, but in the big league level, they just can't handle it and can't hang. So I think eventually he'll get his opportunity and get his crack. There's really, I don't think much more he could really prove outside of, maybe internally showcasing that, hey, I'm not going to get beaten and destroyed by off-speed pitches at the AAA level. So
yeah,
that's something to watch out going forward as well. One more question before we get to trivia and name that war. This one, not from Rhodes. Rhodes, thank you for the question. From Robin Sifkin says, hey, Locked On Rays, sorry it's taken so long to get another question in, but nothing seemed perfect. My question is, do you think the Rays will utilize a speedster that is currently in the minor leagues during a playoff series in the role of pinch runner / defensive replacement? I see the primary options right now as Raimel Tapia, Billy Hamilton, and Vidal Brujan. Who do you think has the best chance of getting into the action? I'm thinking Brujan is the easiest to justify for them, but I'd like to give Tapia a try. I'm definitely not biased from seeing him play on the Modesto Nuts many years ago. With the news of Bilal's injury and Tapia being pulled from the game, this might change, but it's interesting to think about.
Well, first of all, like always, thank you so much for writing to us, Robin. Tapia. I think, I'm sorry, but he has a bat that can kind of fake it out there. I mean, enough. He has enough MLB experience. If these are the options, Tapia, Brujan, Billy Hamilton, I'm going with Tapia.
Look, it's not a filet mignon. We're picking between flank steaks and stew meat, basically. But regardless, Tapia.
I thought you were going to go with like another, but that caught me.
That works. Hopefully the listeners get a laugh out of that one as well.
Yeah.
Tapia, he's getting the playing time. He's getting the action right now. If it was somebody else that they were maybe leaning on or thinking about, I think if there was a time to call up a guy and get him his run now, this is the prime opportunity to do that. So I feel that because Tapia is right here, he would be the man to stay. And I know he doesn't have, just like Austin Shenton doesn't have the cachet, so to speak. Tapia doesn't either, but he's done really quite a bit in his career between 8 seasons and 2,000 plate appearances, a 273 career average. Like that holds. That is a track record that you can count on. He can play left, right, center. He can pinch in at DH. He provides base running value and sprint speed. I think that's the guy. Look, Billy Hamilton, Vidal Brujan, we're not even going to have that conversation, but Billy Hamilton, he's played, 3 games at the major league level this year. He hasn't done anything in years. If I had to guess, just reading the tea leaves, I think probably the only reason that he was brought into the fold was maybe as a emergency situation, but also just, hey, he's been in the big leagues for a long, long time. He's stuck around with really basically having, that one primary skill set. He's the guidance guy to the kids at AAA. Here's the trials and tribulations that you're going to have to go through if you want to have a sustainable major league career. Maybe give him a couple tips on base running. That's about what I got.
Yeah, I know. And I think if there's a name that might not come back, Siri, Rayleigh, guess what? You got Tapia. So it's really good insurance. Not the best, but again, it's insurance. Like it's on insurance on September 28th. Like we're talking about, like there's not
if something happens to Manny Margot, you could feel confident of, there's going to be a drop off, but it's not like this guy is going to have,
it's not for a season, Kevin.
Yeah, he's not going to be wide eyed and bushy tailed, basically.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? If you don't want to be bushy tailed when you have things that are missing from your home, well, you know what? You got to use DoorDash. You love the convenience of getting what you want right to your door. That's DoorDash. And with DoorDash grocery delivery, you can stock up for the week or order last-minute cravings conveniently. If you need fresh groceries for the week and don't have time to go to the store, guess what? Try DoorDash. Grocery delivery from DoorDash. You'll get everything you want right to your door. So today, You can get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to a $20 value when you use code LOCKEDONMLB at checkout. It's a limited time offer. Terms apply. That's 50% off up to $20. No minimum subtotal and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code LOCKEDONMLB. Don't forget, that's code LOCKEDONMLB for 50% off your first order with DoorDash.
All right. Hopefully the listeners out there enjoy this background music as we bleed into trivia and Name That War. We've got a couple different options. So if you hate this background music that is titled Feeding the Ducks, let us know, and we might try Night Driving or Lo-Fi or Into Space. We can play around with that. But our Jeopardy music, our Jeopardy theme music, we're changing it up. And utilizing what's been provided to us here. So I want to get people's perspective on that. I was looking up, I was trying to look at it real briefly, but it seemed like Tapia's splits were about even amongst lefties and righties.
Look at that.
But I'd have to double check and confirm that. So there's stability there. All right, getting to baseball trivia, Name That War. My trivia question is pretty brief here, and we had talked about the Seattle Mariners, and did we lose the music here? I'm trying to loop the track.
Seemed like we did.
Oh, dang it. There it is. I might just have to keep playing it intermittently. Regardless, we had mentioned the Seattle Mariners as a possible playoff opponent. So I figured I'd dig into the archives with that franchise and come up with a question here. So my question is this. There are 6 individuals who have registered at least 1,000 career innings pitched in a Seattle uniform. I want 3 of those 6 names.
Felix Hernandez.
Numero uno with 2.729 and 2/3.
Randy Johnson.
Yes, that would be correct. He's number 3 on this list with 1,838 innings and 1/3.
Who is the guy who had a no-hitter and then Vizquel ended it with a barehanded play? I think he starts with a V or an N. Oh, that's gonna bother me. Okay, whatever. Okay, let's go back. Did Felix have a buddy? Oh, easy. Venezuelan bump. Freddy Garcia.
Freddie Garcia. I got to play Feeding the Ducks again. This is going to get annoying.
Yeah, it is.
I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm looping it or not looping it. Dang it. Okay. People better like Feeding the Ducks because this is work. Yes. Freddie Garcia is correctamundo. 1,096 and 1/3 innings pitched. He is number 6 on the list. The others, and I'll just run them down. Felix Hernandez, number 1, of course. Number 2, this guy pitched until he was 100 years old. Jamie Moyer with 2,093 innings. 3, Randy Johnson. 4, Mike Moore. 5, Mark Langston. And 6, Freddie Garcia.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Jamie Moore. Yeah, I would have been really upset about that one. Yeah.
He pitched till he was 49. Holy cow.
He did. He was Rich Hill before Rich Hill was Rich Hill.
Yeah, he was the pitching version of Julio Franco.
Yeah, exactly.
He still looks good, by the way.
I bet he does. For Name That War, which, by the way, can we kill Feeding the Ducks now?
You want me to kill Feeding the Ducks?
Kill the Ducks.
All right. I was trying to fade it out, but we got some work to do.
We got some work to do. It's bear with us, peeps.
It's a working title.
Thank you. For Name That War, which, by the way, if you've never seen Name That War, it's the game that we play where we take a player from the past and we try to guess his career war according to Baseball Reference, only using our mind, our Baseball Archive mind.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin, today I'm going with a guy whose name is Kevin too, but his last name is not Weiss. You got to flip that bad boy over. Kevin Millar.
Oh, God. Come
What is
on.
Kevin Millar's career war according to BREF?
Actually, I think I'll do okay on this one. Kevin Millar, who did more talking than hitting, but I think he did some of that as well. I'm going to say Kevin Millar played about a dozen seasons in the bigs.
Okay.
I'm going to say he had around a 274 career batting average, probably around 160 homers. Oh, man, I can't really remember. I guess he was a corner infielder, perhaps. So I'll bottle all that together. He was maybe a one-time All-Star. 2 at most, but I doubt it. Career war of 13.2.
That was your best Name That War in the 4 years we've played this game.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, you said he had a 274 batting average. He had a 274 batting average.
Holy cow.
You
I
said
did not look
he
that
had
up.
around 160 home runs. He had 170. And you said he played a dozen years. He played a dozen years. He was never an all-star, but he did have an 810 OPS. He had a 110 OPS plus, and his career WAR was not 13.2 like you said, but 14.2.
Look at that. I'll take it. I'm kind of impressed with myself.
Kevin on Kevin.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
Kevin knows Kevin.
That. I don't feel so bad about that.
No,
I've got this weird, I know Evans mentioned it. I've got this kind of weird intuition where I can sort of ballpark a guy's career numbers. Maybe I was looking at so many baseball cards growing up. That's how I remember it. Playing too many video games too. Too much MLB The Show. You remember guys' stat lines as well.
Oh, God. I know I'm old when I'm like, no, I played 2K.
Yeah, played that one too. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, God.
If any listeners want to purchase me a PS5 and MLB The Show,
shameless.
LockedOnRays@gmail.com.
No, but what we do want to hear from you on the comment section is, did you like Feeding the Ducks?
Feeding the Ducks, yeah.
If not,
Or little teaser, do you like night driving? Here's night driving. I'm gonna blast it up a little bit. I actually legitimately would listen to this on a drive.
I think I
kind
would.
of soothing in a way.
Windows down, saddish, melancholic mood.
Yeah, you hear the beat drop right there. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but
I like that.
That would work.
Need people to comment on the Feeding the Ducks or night driving. I need people to comment on how many games do you think we're going to win against the Jays this weekend? 3, 2, 1? I think 2.
Yeah.
And then drop it in also, last thing but not least, who do you think the Rays will be facing?
Love it all.
And also, just to wrap it up, guess what we're doing on Monday for Monday's show, people? It has become a tradition. We are doing it for the 3rd year in a row with Mr. Evan Klosky, who will get off an airplane at midnight and then jump on the mic with us. That's the type of relationship we have. He's going to be awesome. We're going to have a Monday draft roster postseason show just like we have in the last 2 years. So that should be fun for Monday's show.
Good stuff. I'd be a terrible DJ, by the way, trying to work the... All right, guys, we have Feeding the Ducks next. Enjoy it.
You enjoy Feeding the Ducks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I've got some some lady coming up. Can you play this? And then I'd scramble and it'd be really bad. So, all right.
Do you have Sublime? Can you play No, I can't play Sublime.
No, I can't. Not on the playlist.
No, I won't play Sublime, actually.
I've got Feeding the Ducks or Night Driving. Those are your two options. Take it or leave it.
Goodbye.
Now get out of my face and get out of my bar and
exactly.
never want to see you again. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you next week.